A Baltimore County police officer pleads guilty to accepting bribes for firearm training certifications. William Johnson admitted to accepting close to $17,000 to falsely certify that applicants for Maryland handgun qualifying licenses and wear and carry permits had completed training. According to the plea in federal court, Johnson took kickbacks and bribes from May 2019 through September 2021. Johnson faces a maximum of 20 years in federal prison. He will also have to pay back those bribes. Sentencing will be July 13th.
So, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? So, if you couldn't really hear that on my Facebook, Instagram, basically that was a news broadcast sent to me by a student of mine about an instructor who's actually a police officer. Makes it even worse. An instructor that is a police officer who is about to face 20 years in prison because they falsified instruction documents. They basically said that these people that they took money from did the class, which is a 16-hour course. They did the class, they signed off on the documents, and they allowed those students to, well, I guess they're not really students. They allowed those forgery clients to turn in that paperwork to Maryland State Police. I got a lot to say about that. I got a lot to say about a lot of things, but I got a lot to say about that. But before we get into that, welcome to Industry Talk Podcast. I am Jazz, the CEO, your host with the most. I got that from somewhere. I don't know. I don't think I'll be saying that again. But anyway, it's Jazz, the CEO, man. Welcome back for another episode. If you're on YouTube, thank you for tuning in live on this episode. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for checking us out on Spotify. I got a lot to say about this subject. So, just again, thank you for tuning in to Industry Talk Podcast. As you know, our sponsors are USCCA, that is home self-defense insurance. And we also are sponsored by Mantis, that is a home training app and mechanism that you put on your firearm to train with the targets provided and or the targets at your house. You can practice dry firing or you can practice on the range live firing. And USCCA is an insurance company, also training company, and they kind of provide a little bit of everything, bail, bond, and the lawyer. If you want to know more information about those two things, then you can just head to the description after these episodes and click on the links provided in the description, and you can browse through and see all the information for yourself. I don't work for them. I'm not a rep, so I don't know every little thing. So I do tell you what I think. One, a lawyer is super expensive to have on hand. So this is a great way to be able to pay every month into some sort of protection for you in case you find yourself in a self-defense situation. Two, practicing all the time, whenever you can, every day is always good. Dry firing is one of the best ways to practice. It's inexpensive. You don't have to go nowhere. And you can use what you have, which is the air, direction, and the firearm that you have on hand. It is for shotguns, rifles, handguns. Like I said, live fire and dry fire. So those were paid the bills. The bills have been paid. So if you didn't hear what I played, I'm going to play it one more time just so that you can hear it.
Baltimore County police officer pleads guilty to accepting bribes for firearm training certifications. William Johnson admitted to accepting close to $17,000 to falsely certify that applicants for Maryland handgun qualifying licenses and wear and carry permits had completed training. According to the plea in federal court, Johnson took kickbacks and bribes from May 2019 through September 2021. Johnson faces a maximum of 20 years in federal prison. He will also have to pay back those bribes. Sentencing will be July 13th.
What's annoying about this whole thing is that he was a police officer. And we supposedly hold police officers to higher standards. The biggest annoyance is that it sounds like the man is black. God dang it, boy. Why do you gotta go and do something that's gonna make us look stupid? I got a drink because of that. So tonight, my drink of choice is Old Forester Kentucky straight bourbon. As you can see, it's good in this household. Everybody in this household drinks, so the bottle's almost gone, so I had to get this last little swig in. We're doing it straight, no chaser. We're not doing ice because we want to kind of get the notes and the taste of the bourbon in full effect, and we don't want to mess it up with water and dilution and all that stuff. This is 86 proof. Nearly 150 years ago, my great-great-grandfather George Garvin Brown was the first to seal his bourbon in a glass bottle, ensuring consistency, exceptional taste, and quality. He felt so strongly in his convictions that he signed his name to it. Today, I'm proud to add my signature as proof that our commitment to Old Forester legacy lives on. Okay, that's a little backstory, right? Old Forester, since 1870, is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 86 proof. It was continuously sold before, during, and after Prohibition. I think that's really cool that they put on there. It's supposed to be really rich, really fine quality, elegant flavor. And the development is supposed to be why that is such. And it says there is nothing better on the market. I beg to differ, but that is Old Forester. So cheers to everybody watching tonight. So just first taste, I'm getting vanilla. Vanilla. A little water behind my eyes, so it's good. 86 proof is always, a good number. So that's pretty good too. So let me switch the mic over. It was over there so y'all could hear that. So that guy, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Police Officer, Mr. Firearm Instructor, he is about to do 20 years for falsifying HQL documents and wear and carry documents. If you're watching and you're from another state, HQL was our handgun qualification license. And to sum it up, it's basically a way for Maryland State to make money off us. But it's basically saying that, right, Mr. Idiot. It's basically saying that you can buy a firearm in Maryland. And then the wear and carry is what some other states call CCW, gun permit, pistol permit, etc., etc. I like to say wear and carry means you can wear it and carry it any way you want. Several people have proved that point. They go out and they open carry, they get stopped by the police, and they go home. But that is our gun permit here in Maryland. So what he was doing was saying that the people were taking the class, passing the class, and he signed off on that, and he let them send it to Maryland State Police. I think the stupidest thing for me is that he's a police officer, and he sent false documents to other police officers. I just feel like that's so stupid. He said black people back in the industry 20 years. The amount of time he gonna get, he sent us back 20 years. We down bad. We took an L for Mr. Johnson. But I mean, let's just talk about the industry as a whole, no matter where we live, no matter where we're at, right? All right, so that's what today's episode is about. Today's episode is the good and bad, in my opinion, and my thought process of the firearm industry. Haven't been in the firearm industry for a long time. It's only been 3 years, so I can only give my 3-year developed opinion and thought process and facts and things that I've gathered, information. So today, privada. If you watch the show, you know that I love Privada. Like, they're my favorite vendor. Such a huge inventory and all kinds of things, rare cigars, whatever. So if you've been watching, you know that I'm a part of their Privada Club. They send out like 8 cigars, some farm rolled, some labeled, etc. But recently I upped my subscription, and now I get farm rolled, the tester blend, Brian's box, which is Brian, the owner, his choices of the month. And now I am subscribed to their luxury subscription, which is the rare cigars that is hard to find in local shops, cigars that might not be in get manufactured anymore, and things like that. So I actually have 4 subscriptions with them. That's how much I love it. Now, this is not from a subscription, but you can get this one in a subscription. It is the limited edition 3. It's one of their blends from Farm Rolled. It's really good. So sometimes you will get a version of this in your subscription. But crazy thing is, they have something on their website. Called Damaged Cigars. And you can get 20 damaged cigars for $60. If you smoke cigars, you know you're not getting a box of 20 for $60 unless they're horrible cigars, cheap cigars, fake Cubans, whatever it is, that you know you're not getting it unless it's that. This is labeled cigars, farm rolled cigars, all kinds of cigars. But if they deem them at privada to be damaged, they're not going to sell them at full price because their whole thing is quality, customer satisfaction. And I love them for that because this customer is particularly satisfied. So, let me look for the damage. So, it looks like the damage is a little too small for you to see on camera. But there's some like little holes in the, it's a little holes in the wrapper where it looked like it could cause the wrapper to unravel while you're smoking it, probably. So it's not a smooth thing. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna smoke this thing anyway. While I talk about Mr. Johnson and the firearm instructor industry. Oh Lord, as a whole. There we go. I don't want it to be too... Okay, we in there. All right, so I'm going to hurt some feelings. I'm going to make some people mad. But ask me if I care. And if you know me personally, you know I don't care. You know I don't give a shit. So this should be good because I'm anticipating some really good comments on this subject. And I really want to, I already see like 2 instructors on here on different platforms, one on Facebook, one on Instagram. So I really want to hear your opinion on anything I got to say, whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, because a good conversation has 2 viewpoints, 3 viewpoints, or 4. So firearm industry, is it really an industry? Yes, it is really an industry. Is it oversaturated? Hell yeah. And it's oversaturated in Maryland in particular because the only thing you have to do to become a Maryland certified instructor is to take the NRA class. Well, it used to be. I'm going to get there. Is to take the NRA class, become an NRA instructor, and boom, you qualify to sign off on permits. At first, they weren't even taking USCCA. Now, you heard me talk about USCCA in the beginning because they're an insurance company. But now, they're a training company. So now, instructors can go take the USCCA instructor training and become a USCCA certified instructor. So many people have done that. So many people do that. There's some really good instructors who have done that because they decided that they like this curriculum more than they like the NRA curriculum, or they like the perks and the atmosphere and the community of USC. Whatever their reasoning is, they either do both or they do one or the other. And a lot of people started doing USCCA. I have not. I think the training was $800, and I was just like, boo, whatever, right? And I'm an old school American. Like, I'm an old conservative in real life. I know I'm black and I'm gay, and how can I be that way? But as far as like principles with guns and this, that, and the third, things like that, old school conservative when it comes to that. So I went with the NRA because it's the oldest standing, firearm, instructor. Like, that's That's who I am now. I love USCCA. I do love what they offer my students and my clients and even me, because I am a USCCA partner. I'm just not a USCCA instructor. And it's not because their instruction is bad, wrong, or indifferent, whatever. It's just that obviously half of their stuff came from NRA. So why don't I just bang with the people that started this thing? That's kind of my opinion on that. So once you become a Maryland certified, there's no test from being a Maryland. There's no test. Get with you about what, Trusty. There's no test to be a Maryland certified instructor. They just want you to upload your certification from one of those places. And at first they weren't even taking USCCA. Now they are, because all they knew was NRA, just like me, right? So now they're taking that. So all you have to do is upload your certification that's saying that you took this, that, and the third test. And now you're a Maryland instructor. I don't even know what kind of leeway they be doing for the police. Maybe they don't even make them do that. I have no idea. I'm not police. Yes, I know I could be saying police, and I like to say police. That's just me. You don't have to correct me, because if you do, I'm going to ignore you anyway, or I'm going to dog you out. So it's not really hard, is basically what I got to say. If you can shoot and you have the desire to teach, or if you can shoot and you have the desire to make money teaching, because see, now we're about to get into that, then you're going to take the test. You're going to pass it. You're going to pass the instructor test. It was a little difficult for me, because when I was a federal officer, we only did our qualifications every year or every 2 years or something like that. I don't even remember, right? And then, we took the ICE course and we did that. So, doing something, 20 feet away or 16 shots or being this close or whatever, that really wasn't what we had to do as federal. So I really didn't that wasn't my thing. And then back then, our gear was issued to us. Our guns were issued to us. So I wasn't really a big gun person either. I've always had my own personal firearm. And I was always a Glock person, because that's what we carried on the job. So like I say, I'm an old school person, and I kind of go with what I know. I eat the same kind of things from the same restaurant. Like if I go in, I have a regular drink. I have a regular dish, because I'm a creature of habit. So I didn't really see to be buying all kinds of guns and doing all that and taking all kinds of extracurricular training. And see, now I know that that's a bad habit, to not take extracurricular training and only do what's mandated and things like that, right? We could get into that a little bit later. But so what I'm saying with this is, it's not difficult to become an instructor. Once Trump was fighting Biden for the presidency of the United States of America, people were stealing toilet paper. People were scared of black people. Black people were scared of white people. White people were scared of Asians, were scared of everybody. Whatever it was crazy. Things were crazy, okay? And gun ownership became important, cool, necessary. However, whatever the reason was, to a lot of people who didn't think guns were important, especially women. We made up like 80% of new gun owners in 2020. So things that women deemed the man's job, things that women deemed not for them, too much for them to handle, whatever. Hey, you heard the dirtbag. I live in Baltimore. It is what it is. Things that women deemed, not for us, all of a sudden is for us. All of a sudden we need this. We need a gun to protect our toilet paper. I'm just joking. People wanted it for self-defense. But, so we deemed it important. And that means things skyrocketed. So people who weren't instructors wanted to be instructors, whether it's because they already shoot or because they knew somebody else that was doing it and was making money. It's two instances in my career as an instructor where money was crazy. My bank was like, dang girl, what you doing? Killing people? Like for real. So two instances. So one instance was the presidency with fight, election. Sorry, people. The presidency fight with Biden and Trump. that made everybody want to get a gun. Everybody. It skyrocketed. Now, at the time, though, you still had to have a good and substantial reasoning for getting a gun permit in Maryland. So numbers did skyrocket, but they didn't skyrocket as much as they did with the second instance of skyrocketing, okay? So everybody wanted to do it. If they could, they did it. And then they came out with this HQL thing, and the HQL had been sitting around for a little while. I mean, it's so stupid that it's good for 10 years or something. Like, you don't have to re-qualify for HQL because what are you re-qualifying to buy? That's weird. So it's good for 10, 15 years or whatever it is, right? And so people were getting HQLs just to have guns in their homes. And no, it's not the license to have a gun in your home, but say something happened. It's good during a court case to say, I am trained. I know what I'm doing. Here's the target for my practice. Here's my license. 10 years. Thank you, trustee. Here's my license. I'm trained, blah, blah, blah. That's good. That's what I say to people. It's good to have that. Even if you only plan on having a shotgun and you don't need a license in Maryland to buy a shotgun. But even if you want to have a shotgun, it's still good to get an HQL because it shows that you took the initiative to do training, And I know around the world we got this permitless carry going on. And I'm not going to go too deep into that because I have mixed feelings about that. I spent a lot of days and hours and times watching viral videos of people who have no business with firearms, just pulling firearms out thinking that they're the self-defense tool of all tools. They're the self-defense tool when it causes for that, when it calls for that, when it causes for that. And sometimes, some of these situations I'm watching on this video, you did not have to shoot. So I have mixed feelings about that or whatever. So, it skyrocketed in, so you got a bunch of people with gun permits then. But the HQL class is a 4-hour class, bro. It's a 4-hour class, right? So you know what? It's 3 incidents. Three times that it skyrocketed. When the election started, but then when COVID hit, and it kind of was around the same time, but the election, COVID, and then when they changed the law for us in Maryland. So election started, everybody wanted this stuff. Then COVID, everybody wanted this stuff. Now the problem with that is that there's money in it. There's money in it. If you're charging, I was charging maybe $100 per HQL back then in 2020, or $150. So you're making that per person. You got 20 people in class. I'm not a math whiz, so I'm not doing the math. Somebody can pull out their calculator and do that. But you got 100 people, you got 20 people in one class. You charging $100 per class, or you charging $150 per class for HQL. You're making a good amount of money. Depending on where you're teaching the class, depends on your overhead. Depending on how many guns you have, how much ammo you have, depends on overhead. When I first started out, I didn't have a big arsenal of ammo. I do now, and I did once COVID hit because I bought ammo before the prices went up. But, your overhead could literally be nothing. Or you could put the price of your overhead and, spread it around the students. If this is $100, $4, a dollar a round, or $1 a target, $1 for eyes and ears. So you build that business-wise, you build your overhead into the cost of class. So if you want to make $100 out of class, but your overhead per student is $20, $30, $40, $50, then you charge $150. Now the student is paying for that, right? So you're making good money as an instructor. And that's where the problem comes in at. Because just like the stock market, Madoff, whatever his name, Bernie, he's making good money. You can make good money in legitimate business, but you can make faster money and better money in illegal business. And that's just the truth. That's why you have the black market. That's why you have racketeering. That's why you have embezzlement. That's why you have crime. If crime wasn't lucrative, it wouldn't be a thing. Period. If crime wasn't lucrative, you wouldn't have federal prison, white collar prison, whatever. If it wasn't lucrative, you wouldn't see these people who have all these really good lives doing it. That's just my opinion on that. If it wasn't lucrative, you wouldn't do it. For this dude who got 20 years now, or about to get 20 years for lying, saying people took the class, it was lucrative for him because time management. He didn't actually give the class, so he wasn't actually using his time. He was just signing paperwork and sending it back. You could do that via email, right? So they didn't tell me exactly how he's doing it, but you could do that via email. You could do that via email. I don't have to see you. I don't have to talk to you. You wire me the money, cash at me the money. I send you a link. You pay the money on my online, whatever it is. I don't even have to see you to do this crime. So I'm doing this crime. Now, here's where the problem comes in. Now, I got a story to tell about this problem. All right. So, boom. I hired somebody. When I first started out, Cash App, email, and score sheets. That's it. Cash App, email, and score sheets. Boom. Job done. You made $100,000. You made $1,000 in an hour, depending on how much you charging these people, right? Because HQL is one price, but wear and carry could be $300-$400 if that's what you choose to charge. When this last instant of uptick happened, I saw people charging $800 for wear and carry, and people was paying it. I didn't up my price. I upped my price from maybe, I think it was $250, then it was $275, then it was $300. I upped my price as far as market value. So if I decided I wanted to do $800, I could do $800. I could throw in some perks. Oh, you get to do 4 or 5 different kind of guns. You get to do this, whatever it is. That's the thing. It's not regulated. You can charge whatever you want to charge. Now, if you going with somebody who got a heart or some sense, somebody just commented and said that they received a phone call and said, get them while you can. Because people was really on some, I really got to get this. I'm going to pay whatever. Like, I had 40 students in one class in this last uptick. I spaced them out. I didn't do all 40 at one time, but I also did half on like the paperwork part, like online, right? From another instructor, right? You know, so certain things during COVID was allowed to do online. Certain things that you don't have to be hands-on, you could do online. So it is really a way to do this with not a lot of touch points and still actually give the class, bro. Like, there's a lot of ways you can still do this without a lot of touch time, but still give the class. Now, here's my story. All right. So when I first started out, I wasn't an instructor. My background is in party hosting, event hosting. Like, I could get on the mic, I could talk, I could make things pop, whatever. I was a DJ, I was a host. So I came up with this thing where I would get somebody who's reputable. I looked at people, see who, could, deal with me and my swag, whatever it is. And I got this guy, and he was a certified instructor. And so I had him come to my classes. He did the classes, but I promoted the classes. I got the people in. And I'm telling you, my first 6 figures was off word of mouth and Facebook, period. So I did the, getting people in, onboarding, whatever. I would host a class. So that means I would introduce everybody, say what's next, say what we about to do. But he did the actual training part where it was holding the guns and going to the range and stuff. It was a partnership. So one day, and this is going to lead me into something I got to say about me and my business. One day, I get a phone call from a student. Okay, because we were doing it a little while, then we started doing something else, and half was at my place, which is Gumtree, and half was at his place, or we would do something with the people he brought in or whatever, and it would be at his place. One day I get a phone call. Now, I don't know if he's going to be on this live, but he know what he did, and that's his problem, his fault. He got to deal with that with Jesus and MSP. So I get a phone call from a student. Now, I'm on a sting. So I'm a private detective as well. And I had to serve this guy who was evading service for a long time. Lawyer called me and said, yo, I really need you to get this guy. We found out where he was going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I told him, hey, I can't come to the class today. Do it on your own. I'm going to go and do this sting. He was a little upset because in his mind, we were partners and he didn't work for me. Now, that's a whole nother episode with me having to deal with men and their feelings. Okay. And I was like, bruh, I hired you. If I hire you, you work for me. but I don't understand why I gotta tell you that. You can have your own business, but if you subcontract for me and you work for me, you work for me. Like, there's why are we even talking about this? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not about to talk to you about this. So he had a little attitude. Now, I knew that, but I didn't think this was going to happen. So I get a call about 10:30. Class started at 9 a.m. I get a call about 10:30 from a female student, and she goes, hey, Jazz, not sure if this is the way it's supposed to be, but we just got out of class at 10:30. If you don't know, wear and carry is supposed to be 16 hours. Now check this out. I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes, especially if you got one student, two students, it's not gonna take 16 hours to do this class, okay? I try to get it as close as 16 as possible, or I do other things to get it to 16 videos, this, that, and the third. Whatever you got to do, get it as close to 16 as possible. Definitely 2 days. I don't do 1 day. Definitely 2 days. But 9 o'clock to 10:30 a.m., I ain't never did nothing like that. I wouldn't even thought of doing something like that. That didn't even cross my mind. What could you have said that would get somebody prepared to hold a gun, especially somebody who ain't never held a gun before? Because you get people who are experienced in class, and you get people who ain't never even seen a gun in person in class. So 10:30, she calls me, she says this, and I'm done with my thing. I done served the guy, he got, boom, okay? That's, my specialty. That's what I do, process serving. So I'm like baffled, like, yo, what's going on? And she says, yeah, in the class, he talked about how you wasn't there. He talked about how, he ain't about to do this himself. And I'm like, business-wise, bruh. Business-wise, we both got businesses. And what's happening with you is you putting my business on the line because I'm the one signing off on these people's sponsorships. And if they turn in this paperwork and then they go into, because at the time they were doing in-person interviews with Maryland State Police. And you can't count on every single person to say the right lie or to lie. You don't know these people. I don't know these people personally. I can't be committing crime with strangers. So you're going to get my business shut down. You whining like a baby, and you're going to get my business shut down. You want to fight. Like, you want to fight me. That's really what that was. I was like, yo, you want to fight, bro. That's really what that is. You want to fight. So he did that. And this wasn't the first thing that he's ever done to kind of make me a little upset with him. Maybe I'll tell that story at another time on another episode. But so basically he did that. He closed class down at 10:30. That was day one. And they were supposed to do day two at the range with him. And I didn't interrupt that. Because the students don't need to know the business of the behind the scenes of what's going on. But what happened was somebody else that was in that class was somebody else's student, a guy that I actually really look up to and is really big in the industry. And he sent his cousin to me, and I wasn't there that day. He sent his cousin to the class. And his cousin called him and told him that the class ended at 10:30. The guy gets on the phone. Well, actually, we see each other in the back of Gundry in the VIP area. And he says, yo, let me talk to you about something. Because he's straightforward like I am, and that's why we get along. He came to me and he said, yo, what's up with your class ending? Like, that's, like, you can't be doing that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I wasn't there. Slow your roll, big guy. I wasn't there. I was told about the incident afterwards. I'm bringing all those students in for an actual class, no charge to them. I'm bringing them back in for an actual class at another date here at Gundry. I'm going to treat them to lunch, because what I like to tell people, like when I first started, people were like competing with me or trying to tell me how to be an instructor, saying this about shooting and this. And I was like, yo, I'm actually not an instructor. I'm a businesswoman who does instruction. And there's a big distinction with that because I'm not all about getting the people in the thing and moving them out and getting the people in the thing. No, like most of the time I'm instructing for a greater purpose. So I'm not an instructor. I'm a business owner who instructs. I hire other instructors give them the curriculum I want to teach, and then I either stay at home and do my podcast or whatever. Like, I'm a business owner. That's what I do. So I'm like, that was somebody who was working for me, who doesn't work for me anymore. And, sorry, my it's all the way up. But that's somebody who was working for me. He was really, really upset because he believes in his industry. He was super upset about it. And he told me straight up, if it wasn't you and this wasn't your class, I would have called MSP and I would have had my cousin turn y'all in. And that just blew my mind. I called the guy, said what I had to say. There was a slight argument, but I'm still a female, so I usually win arguments. So, there was a slight argument. There was a slight discussion. And, we basically went our own way after that. We tied up whatever business we had with that. And the good thing is about that is I put everything and everybody on paper. If you never watched the episode where I talked about how I lost everything to a bad business deal, I now put everything and everybody on paper. So in that, subcontractor sorry, I was reading somebody's comment. In that subcontractor agreement, is said, if either of us do anything unethical or anything to, hinder someone's business, that's a wrap. It's no payment, it's no this, it's no negotiation, it's nothing. It's gone, it's done. Because what I need, I don't love you. This is not a relationship. I need to be able to get up out of there. And I got up out of there. Somebody said, this conversation is so important. I appreciate you for this transparency. So much in the game. Yeah. When my students sent me the video of the guy and the news thing, I was like, I have my own experience with this kind of thing. Now, I'm not no perfect person now. I've done, okay, what, you lost your score sheet, or, okay, let me get you another score sheet, or you got what, you did this, or let me just do this. If it's an instructor that I know, I've done stuff like, oh, okay, I've seen you shoot. I've been shooting with you before. I know how you hit. Let me do this let me help you out. I help people with their private detective. Like, I've done favors, but nothing to jeopardize my business or my freedom. I draw the line at freedom because I'm small and I don't want to get taken up in there, okay? I can fight, but girl, don't nobody want to fight every day. So, and the transparency, man, I'm just, John, we real. We just real motherfuckers out here. And, I mean, it happens all the time. What this dude did on the scale that he did is a lot. But it happens every single day. It's somebody at Gumtree right now on the phone saying, yo, I'm going to send you a score sheet. And the person not there. Like 9 times out of 10, there's somebody doing that right now. It is not crazy to fathom. What he did is not crazy to fathom that people are doing it. People are doing it all the time. I have people ask me these kind of things all the time. People ask me to sign off on stuff. People ask me to co-sign on stuff. People ask me all the time. And then they meet the old me from Buffalo, New York, because I'm not nice about my responses to you asking me to do something illegal. I had a student that texted me today. We had a conversation about I needed somebody with a medical marijuana card to do this investigation that I'm working on. And I asked her if she knew anybody. And she was like, I don't know nobody. And then she was like, hey, do you want me to not get an HQL so that I could get a medical marijuana card, and then we could then get my gun permit? And then, like, it was a lot of thens. If it's a lot of story, one, I stopped reading, I stopped listening, and it sounded illegal to me. Okay? So I was like, pause. No. Do what you're supposed to be doing, and let me worry about my business. I appreciate your thought of thinking of me and wanting to help me get what I need to get, but we're not going to cut corners and do things backwards and upside down just to get that. That ain't me. That's just not me. Yes, people are bold. I had a guy flat out ask me how much to skip class. I have people ask me how to skip class so much, and people will throw the money at you. But, and it was a stranger, trusting. People ask me so many times, what I gotta do to just, get you to do this? Nothing. I'm not, let me just say this. I am not a gun permit hoe. So there's nothing you could do for me to just get me to do this. Like, that's not how that works, bruh. Like, it's not, no. One of my friends had his instructor certification pistol whipped by his friend, and he has 0 firearms background. What? Hold on. One of my friends had his instructor certification pistol whipped by his friend, and he has 0 firearms background, and then he accidentally shot himself in the hand on the 4th of July and almost shot me in the stomach. John, you got to request to come on to tell that story, or you got to elaborate some more in the comments so I can read this out loud. But listen, these firearm instructors, you get a lot. Now, this is where I'm probably going to hurt people's feelings or say what I got to say. All right. I know people that weren't firearms and pencil whipped, like pencil whipped, like he just signed it for him. Okay. All right. I'd rather make the long-term steady income than the quick money. For real, me too. Like, people be like, Dad, why you turn down that contract? One, it's not always because I know the person who has the contract currently. If the client's not happy and they come to me, that's not my problem. But if somebody who's not really the decision maker comes to me and says, hey, yo, you could get this contract, and I know the person that got the contract, I probably won't do it. That's just some inside of me. That's just some, values that I have. Plus half the time, it's not a contract that I want, because I know what kind of money I want. I know where I want my money to come from. I know what's long lasting. I know what's less liability, and club's not it for me. I actually worked club security for years. Club is not where I want to put my people at. Now, if it's a special event, whatever, we do events. We do high-end weddings. I've done politician daughters' weddings. I do police captains' weddings. Like, we do that kind of stuff because that's what I like. And therefore, if that's what I like, that's what we go after as a company. So there's a lot of things I just wouldn't do. And one of those things is falsifying documents to give to Maryland State Police. Like, what? Like, what? No, bro. That's crazy. Why would you even risk your freedom for something that takes... Okay, let's say we don't do the full class. Okay? Let's say we don't do the full class. You could probably get through your slides per person in less than 8 hours. If it's one person, you could get through the slides. You can get through the range day. You could get through that in one day. You absolutely can. That's the 16 hours is something that somebody else made up and decided that was the number. You can absolutely do that. So just do that. If you're going to do something that you shouldn't do, at least still do the actual class and take them to the actual range. Because at least you did actually give them the class. You might get in trouble for not doing the time, but I don't think you're doing 20 years for that. But you're definitely doing 20 years for taking, because they classified it as bribes. They classified it as bribes because I gave you this money to do something that I actually didn't do. It's bribes. You're bribing them. The crimes are classified upon your actions. So you might not have, that person, Johnson, might not have gotten bribery if they actually had did the class but then didn't do the allotted time. Like, if you're going to be a criminal, be a smart one, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. It's just ways around that. How can I get certified as a private detective? That's not on subject in my podcast today, but you can DM me and we can discuss it. Uncle GG89. You can DM me and I will respond back to you when I get off the podcast. So the industry is saturated with a bunch of wannabes, a bunch of know-it-alls, a bunch of people comparing themselves to each other, competing against each other. It's enough money out here for everybody. I made my federal salary in 2 months. Actually, in 1 month when the law changed. When the law changed and said that people no longer need a substantial reasoning, a good and substantial reasoning to get a gun permit. I literally made what I was making working 8 hours a day, every single day of the week, putting in overtime. I made that in like a month. And it could have been less than a month because I pre-signed people up and they have to pay in full. I don't do partial payments. I don't do down payments. I don't do none of that. You want my class? Here's the date. Here's the pay link. And I shut the pay link off maybe a week before class. So you got to get, my audience is trained. You got to get in, you got to pay, sign up, sign the waivers, do this, do that, and then boom, we have class. All that's done before class. So I could have made it in less than a month. My freaking salary, I got you, uncle. We'll talk about it. I made my salary in less than a month when that happened. And maybe twice over. And that was without me upping my price. I was doing $275 when this happened. So even doing it legally, there's money to be made. His $17,000 worth of bribery, John, Trusty, $17,000 worth of bribery. Did you or did you not make that money without doing that when that uptick happened, when this last uptick happened? Because I know I did. So I didn't need to take bribes. $17,000 is not enough to go to jail for. Not enough to go to jail for, bro. It's just not enough to go to jail for. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It is not enough to go to jail for. Think about it. Like, okay, people have money problems. I've been broke. If you had listened to my last 2 podcasts, I talked about my whole journey from getting back from 0 to 100. Like, for real. I've been broke. I didn't have repos. I know that there's people that got money problems, but I don't think he was one of those people. And I know cops don't make a lot. My father's a police officer. My brother's a police officer. So I know you don't make a lot, right? But $17,000, you could have did something else, bro. Because it's just not enough money to do 20 years. Check this out. $17,000 is not even $1,000 a year in your sentence that you're about to take. You're not even getting paid. You didn't even make $1,000 a year for the sentence that you about to do in jail, bro. Just wasn't worth it. Just wasn't worth it at all. So let's talk about competition. Trusty is, in my opinion, is a respected instructor in the game. I don't know how long you've been doing it, Trusty. You could drop it in the comments. Everybody started at different times for different reasons. I started it. I can only talk about me. I wasn't always an instructor. Never wanted to be an instructor. Didn't look at being an instructor. Nothing like that. I literally started it because I saw a need. I saw an avenue. And I saw revenue. Point blank. I saw that there was money in it. I saw that there was a need for it. And I saw that I could have my purpose implemented in that. Okay? And let me break that down. Yes, the money I knew was there was great. But my purpose is to protect people and to teach people how to protect themselves. Originally, I was doing that security. But then I saw opening for doing it in firearms. I saw a need, fear, misunderstanding of how to train, misunderstanding of what guns were real and what guns weren't, misunderstanding of what the news was saying about firearms and automatic weapons and assault rifles and things, just shit they making up to scare the average citizen. I saw a need for education. There was an education gap, and I saw that there was fear. And of course, I was able to do it because there was also money in it. That's why I do it. Do I want to be the best instructor in the whole wide world and this is all I want to do with my life? No. And that's probably why I don't take risks, because I won't let something that's not my full-blown purpose take me down and corrupt my business or myself. That's probably what my thought process is, if I'm being honest. It's not that important to me for me to use it in a wrong way and mess up my whole life. Do I think it's important to instruct? I think it was important for me to be able to do every aspect of my business. Because you have some company owners, you have these big security company owners who put mandates on their officers, but they ain't never walked a beat. They ain't never did traffic. They ain't never did security. They ain't never did that. They just got the money to start a company and they knew it was lucrative. But I wanted to be the opposite. I didn't want other people just to teach my classes. I wanted to at least be able to teach my classes. Now think about this. If I didn't think that way, and this dude ended that class at 10:30, I wouldn't even have been able to actually teach them. I would have had to go out and get another person that I'm putting my business in their hands. So thank goodness that I always think ahead and go liability, liability, liability. And I went and got the certification on my own. Shout out to Akil. He doesn't even do it anymore, but learning from, I think he was a Navy SEAL. I think he was. So learning from somebody who takes structure, discipline, and the law seriously was really good for me, because it was that kind of stuff was instilled in me as well. So it's just crazy that he, gave up his life for $17,000, because we made so much more in this last uptick. In the first uptick, I made my whole federal salary. And I was like, yo, what? Army Special Operations. Thank you. Sorry, Akil. Army Special Operations. But I made my whole salary. So, and we talking about 40,000, 50,000 people make that federal. Sometimes more, depending on your clearance and your job title, whatever. But think of somebody. Well, I'm 30, 34 now. So I had just turned 30. Just had turned 30. And just got out of a really bad financial situation and decided I'm not going back to work. I'm going to work for myself. And then boom, I make my salary in a month. Literally. My birthday's in July 11th. I went to Pendry and I did a staycation. And my first class was scheduled for July 18th. And that's when I was like, yo, this is crazy, because there's no regulation on what you can charge. There's a slight regulation on what you're teaching. And then you can just, as long as you know it, you can do it. It's just not that difficult. But then there lies the problem. So during these upticks, what you get is everybody. This last uptick, I saw about 300 brand new instructors. People who did things like they used to be baristas. Now they're an instructor. People who used to do this, that, and the third. Now they instructor. Somebody at the gun range. One moment he was asking me for a job. The next moment he was an instructor. And it's not that people can't instruct. It's that if you're not getting into it for the right context, then you are going to cut corners. Because your corner that you cut was getting into it in the first place just for the money. So you got a lot of people who don't do it right just because they're not really into it to teach their people. I'm in for it because I wanted to teach my people how to protect themselves from whatever they were protecting themselves from. And so you got a lot of people who is in this game. Please don't get me started on this. Get started. This is what this episode is about. This episode is about the good and bad of the firearm instructor industry. The bad is that anybody can do it. That's the bad. The bad is that anybody, if you pass the test, you are now an instructor. And that's why so many classes suck. That's why I get people who come to me and they put bullets in backwards. They put the ammunition in the magazine backwards. And I go, what's happening? Oh, you know what? I did that one time at my other class with my other instructor. But he said it was okay. He just flipped it around for me. No, ma'am, you need to sit down on that bench and you need to go on your phone and you need to schedule some private training with me. That's $175 an hour. Thank you and good night. Thank you and good night. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. What? So then I go, who's your instructor? It was the dude. It was the dude who I fired. No lie, bruh. No lie. No lie. And she looked at me and he was hesitant to say it. And I was like, well, why were you hesitant to say it? And then she decided to tell me some stuff that they had said about me. And I was like, listen, I don't care what these people. I don't care. I live my own life in my own bubble. I'm drinking bourbon and smoking my cigars, and these people that got something to say about me, I do not care. I care about what my customers and clients say, but let me tell you something. I hit that refund button so fast. Square had to send me an email and ask me was my PO system broken. because I will refund you so fast, because I'm not a fit for everybody and everybody not a fit for me. I'm a business owner, not a carpet. You're not about to say anything, act in your kind of way, and do anything. I will refund you so fast. So I might have complaints out there in the world. I might have. I just had a conversation with somebody the other day. They told me that I'm not a good instructor because I moved half of my class online and they're not computer savvy. Now, I didn't know they weren't computer savvy until the end of the conversation, right before he told me to kick rocks. Because we had this conversation about him doing class 3 times. He texts me each month. He asks me the same questions over and over again. He wants me to drop the price of my class, which is only $300. He wants me to drop the price of my class. He wants me to do the class for free and or just give him what he really wanted me was just to give him the paperwork so that he could go turn in his renewals. But when people want to renew with me, I don't just say okay and renew, especially if you're somebody who got your guard card, PI, wear and carry with me, and then I never saw you again. You didn't do no work. You didn't do no training. This isn't a renew. Boy, this is brand new, boy. Boy, you a newbie, boy. You brand new, boy. You ain't no renewal. It might say renewal on your application, but you're not no renewal with me. And if you suck, you suck. I don't care if it's a renewal. If you come in for your renewal and you suck, then you need to come back for training. And I don't have no problem failing people. Through this uptick, I failed several people and I made them schedule personal training. And then I got them through it. Now, I will help you through it, but I'm not going to just put you through it like this guy did. No. And it ain't just about charging you another $175. But when people invest in the training, that's how you know they serious. I'm training 7 or 8, maybe 10 brand new process servers and private detectives. And they are paying to be in my training app. It's a monthly subscription. And that's how I know that they're serious about starting this business, this side hustle, getting the training, getting the clients, because you pay for it. When they pay for it, they're serious about it. So when they offered to pay you to do this paperwork, they're serious about never actually training. See, you thought I was going to go the other way with that because they paid for it. They were serious. No, they paid you to give them the paperwork without having the class because they're serious about not actually doing the training. They're serious about not actually knowing how to handle a firearm. They're serious about not knowing the laws. They are actually really serious about what they're doing. And you just feeding into that by taking their money, giving them the paperwork via email. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Super duper ridiculous. Let's see exactly why my clients come to me, because they know it's not only my passion, but my expertise. Facebook keeps making me hit. And people who are recertifying with me always tell me my training is way different from what they've been to. Now, you know what? Speaking of that, right? I like to tell people, so like there's an instructor I send people to for Red Dot. There's an instructor I send people to for, what have I been sending? For Red Dot, definitely. And then there's an instructor I send people to for like exotic firearms or like training for competition shooting. So that's another subject. There's a lot of instructors out here instructing people on things that they don't even do themselves. Just because you have access to the gun and the range and the ammo don't mean you should be instructing people. There's a lot of instructors out here who instructing people on doing stuff that they don't even. If I taught a Red Dot class, that would be absolutely, completely stupid because I don't have a red dot on none of my firearms. This is one of my everyday carries. There's no red dot. There's no flashlight. So I, in particular, one thing I know, probably because I'm a New Yorker, I know how to stay in my lane, bro. And my lane is not red dot. So I have a list of people that I like, that I watch train, that I see how they conduct themselves with the range, with because there's a lot of people who are rude to the range. There's a lot of people that come in there and that think because they're a business owner, they can act any old kind of way to the people that work at the range. Now, I'm sure there's some people that get on people's nerves at Gundry, but Gundry is, I'm through and through. I'm through and through the Big G. And that's because I actually have a relationship with one of the owners. I don't care about the political this, political that, money this. I have a relationship with one of the owners. I worked for one of the owners for 10 years. I knew about Gumtree before Gumtree was ever out in the public, right? And I know what importance to put on relationships to magnify your business. And these instructors be coming in there acting crazy. And some of them are in VIP, acting crazy, being disrespectful, being rude because you think you own a business. Check this out. If the law changed right now and we couldn't do this, what else would you be doing? You got to have other streams. You got to have other stuff. You can't be thinking that you just the shit because you're an instructor, because that could go at any point in time. And then now all your clout is gone. So now you riding on this clout thinking you better than everybody, damaging bridges and messing up relationships with the people around you. And now you don't have nothing because you're an asshole because you think you're the best instructor in the world. I stay in my lane. I teach Red Dot 2 to 3 different departments. Thanks for telling me, John, because I didn't know that. So I'll send people to you too. But yeah, I stay in my lane. I don't teach anything that I don't actually do. Could I teach Red Dot? Probably so. Could I take some training and then teach? Probably so. But once again, I am not a firearm instructor. I'm a business owner who instructs. So that means I have security side of my business, private investigation side of my business, and training side of my business. And inside that training side of my business, I have situational awareness, de-escalation, active shooter, firearm training, and then I sign off and train for private detectives and security guards. So training side of my business isn't just firearms. So I share the wealth. Hey, that's not my lane. You want to know how to do this? You want to do this? Boom, boom, boom. I might collaborate, do a class with someone because I'm big on collaboration, but I definitely send people to my lane. It's instructors out here just teaching people any old kind of thing that they saw on a commercial or a YouTube video. Now they made a class for it. Now they doing it. There's a person out here who literally became an instructor one day and now they teaching other people how to be instructors. It's just like, come on, bro. Like, stay in your lane, bro. Y'all got to stay in your lane. Not staying in your lane is detrimental to the students because now they're walking away with stuff that and trust me, the thing, we didn't do that part. I'm sure, because I'm not perfect. I'm not the best instructor in the world. I am sure that there may be something that I leave out that another instructor doesn't leave out. I'm sure that there's something that I teach that another instructor teach differently. So I do encourage people to not stick with the same instructor for every little thing. Branch out. See what you see on their Instagram. See what you do. And then one of my good friends, Lou, he's an instructor. Honey Bear Tactical. I think on Instagram it's like, I don't know, Tactical Sensei or something like that. With them, what it is you got to start. My thing stopped recording. But with him, I know that he teaches a lot of training for like competitions. But I know that because he also does competitions. Him and his wife do competitions. So I'm going to send them to somebody who's a competition shooter. I did one competition in my whole entire life. It was AR, and I did one competition. Did I love it? Absolutely. But is it my lane? No. Am I going to do it again? Maybe. But then I shouldn't be teaching other people because I'm not into it as much as I could be to even be teaching. So you got to stay in your lane too. That's one thing. There's a lot of people that's not in their lane and they're just out here teaching people how to do any old kind of thing, any old kind of way. And that's crazy. Then you got the people who are half doing the class, and I ain't gonna say I never took no kind of shortcut or no kind of change in the curriculum, no kind of thing, but it's just people out here who doing any old kind of thing. So you have that. You have people who don't stay in their lane. You have people it's not their passion. They're only doing it for money. And that's where you get the people like Johnson taking bribes for $17,000, but doing 20 years. Then you have people who are in competition with every instructor that they see. You have people who will stand next to me on the range because now Gumtree makes the VIPs go out to Gen Pop and do training. Used to be we back in the, private sector, whatever. But now we can't do that because one particular instructor brought like 40 students in the back. And we have VIPs from the Ravens to the Miami Dolphins to CEOs to doctors, and don't nobody want a bunch of 40 people who not VIP, who don't know how to act back there, all kinds of stuff back there. Like, that's just a duh. Like, because I'm talking as a VIP now and not just an instructor. I don't even want that. If I had 40 people, I would not have been doing that. Or I would have had a reservoir area, a classroom area where all those people would have stayed, and I would have only took a couple people in because I've done that. So now we all have to shoot in gym pop, which puts us with other instructors who are not VIP. Now, let me tell you my experience about that. These men will be in competition with me, and I don't even be knowing they there until one of the red shirts, which is the safety officers, will tell me that they're staring at me or they're looking at me, or because I'm white, black, Asian. I'm friends with all of the range officers at Gundry because you're supposed to be keeping me safe while I'm doing my job. So I need to be friends with you. You want some coffee? Because I need you to watch my back. Recently, I'm in the range. And I noticed the guy. I did notice the guy. I noticed that he was training the guy. I noticed, but I don't care because I ain't getting paid for it. So I don't care what you're doing or saying. And the range officer, he stepped up to me and whispered, he was like, you know that guy? He's staring at you. I was like, no, I don't know anybody in here because I'm just ignorant. So I was like, no, I don't know nobody in here. He was like, oh, all right. So I happened to step back and let one of my students do something or whatever, and I stepped back across the line, and I looked over, and, we made eye contact because he was already looking at me. Now, he could have been, oh, what's she doing? Learning, da-da-da-da. But that ain't what his face said. His face was like turned up. Grown man, just turned up face. And I'm just like, bro, what I'm doing is not affecting what you're doing. Being in this industry, we don't have to be in competition with each other as instructors because there's so many people in Maryland. There's so many people. There's so much money in this industry. We don't have to be in competition. We don't have to be making maybe a couple months ago, before this last uptick, people were making lives about each other. People were going live, dogging out other instructors. And you knew who they were talking about because they had been on their posts talking to each other. Then they wanted to make a competition, meet me at the range, all of that. That's just a dick contest, bro. And I don't have one, so you guys can keep that. Thank you very much. I don't want no parts of that. Now, I'm going to say my opinion today on the topic about it, but you're not going to catch me on a random day that's not a podcast setting or that something didn't just happen on the news, just dogging out somebody. I've seen all kinds of stuff at the range that I could talk about. I've seen all kinds of stuff on YouTube that I could talk about. I've seen all kinds of stuff, but that's not my job. I'm not an instructor critique. If I was and I could get paid for it, maybe, but it ain't gonna make me no money to dog you out. Now, if somebody come to me and they go, hey, I was thinking of taking such and such class, and I actually have an opinion about that, yes, I'm gonna give my opinion about that. But we do not need to be dogging each other. Not at all. Why compete? Plenty of money out here. Just booked 4 classes in Connecticut and 2 in New Jersey. Damn. Yo, that's what's up. The only out-of-town classes I've ever done is in New York. I did several classes. My last class was full to capacity at the venue. But that was my hometown. They showed me a lot of love. The laws have changed now, so we're trying to refigure how to do classes again in case you're watching from Buffalo. I probably will be there in July and again in December. So we are I'm working with my man Dre. I'm going to hit him up and see how we can do classes, but I wanted that stuff to kind of fall into place, these new laws and the way they're doing stuff in New York right now. But yeah, like he's doing. John is going out of town because NRA and USCC, I guess too. NRA curriculum is not a Maryland thing. You could go anywhere and teach the class. I got booked to do a class in North Carolina. You can get booked to do classes in all ways. There's no reason to be competing, hating on each other, talking about each other on stats to make your money, dogging each other out to, deter people from taking certain classes. If I really think that it's an educational risk and a safety risk for somebody to take a class with somebody, yes, I'm going to say that. But I'm going to let people make their own decision. I have plenty of people who've came to me from other instructors. I have women who've came to me from other instructors like, I love the way you teach. You're just this, you're this, that. I think I should have did it with a woman, da-da-da-da. All kinds of things. And that's not just on the instructor. That's what they prefer. Sometimes the client ain't for you, bro. So if the client goes to another instructor, it's no reason to hate on that instructor. Sometimes that client is not meant for you. Maybe that person is not your kind of person. I'm a special kind of tea. I am not everybody's cup of tea. My mouth is not everybody's cup of tea. For real. You can ask the person that just told me to kick rocks the other day on the phone. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So, Oh, okay. Right. Because if you can shoot, you can shoot. If you can shoot here, you can shoot anywhere. You can teach shooting. You can teach shooting. And if this is a place where it's not just curriculum based off of Maryland or not just certification based, you can teach anything. You can teach anything. There's so much money in this. You could teach the classes that get you the permits, but then you could elaborate. You could teach cleaning classes. I've done that. Cleaning classes. $30 a head. Like, there's money out here for this. And there's just no reason for you to be doing $17,000 worth of bribes. There's no reason why you should be hating on instructors. There's no reason why you should be doing a lot of things. Now, when I see something super dangerous in the range, I do tell Gundry. I go right to the owner's office. I don't even tell the range safety officer. Like, I don't have time. Because if I'm out there and you doing something dangerous, that means I'm in danger. And bruh, we're not doing that. We're not doing that because accidents actually really do happen. So now if I see something like that, yes, I do go and I go, yo, watch the camera back, watch lane this. Y'all do what y'all got to do. But boom, that's the heads up. Have I done it? Absolutely. Because some of these people are crazy. And it's usually people. Hold on. All right, I'm about to get to another subject on instructors. It's usually people dressed as an instructor. No lie. No lie. Not everybody. But some people just do it over the top. It's one thing to have something that says you're an instructor, because that's also advertisement. So there's one thing that says you're, but sometimes these people be overdoing it, bro. And they be the ones flagging their students, flagging the people next to them, flagging this, flagging that. It be crazy. Not everybody. But I have seen people dressed to the top tier of Amazon tactical gear. And they be the ones that be needing to get off of the range. I'm going to let y'all sit with that. I'm going to take a sip. Hey, Mo's on here. Yo, everybody congratulate Mo for a successful opening of the new and improved, what is it called, arena. I went and saw Earth, Wind, and Fire. My man was looking real dapper and fresh in his suit. And was taking care of business. Security was on point. Except for Mo, it was this one random old guy. I mean, his pouch on the side of his thing was like from 1998. And he was having a lot of difficulty with the with the metal detector. I didn't know his name, but I just wanted to let you know. You probably know exactly. It's a leather pouch. He was having a lot of trouble with that metal detector, just in case you wanted to know. But I felt safe. Even with Grandpa, I felt safe. Not Amazon. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm a fan of Amazon. I'm a fan of getting gear off Amazon. I have a holster that is from Amazon. It looks just like them expensive holsters. It has good retention, and it's perfect for my suits. So, I'm nothing against Amazon, but, I mean, the guy that has that viral video, he's an instructor, but he wears Gucci, Dior, all the name brands, but then he wears like 3 guns on his chest, a gun on his waist, a gun on his leg. I don't see him at Gundry no more. I'm not sure if they put him out or banned him or what, but I don't see him too much at Gundry no more. But I used to see him when I used to come up front. I used to see him. He looked good. And that's probably his way of advertising his lifestyle. So if you're using it to advertise your life, like I open carry. I open carry. I've gotten pulled over by the police, stopped by the police at a gas station. Somebody called the police on me for open carrying. I just stayed there like, come on, bro, let's get this over with. Because I'm not about to drive off and you feel like I'm running. But I use that as advertisement too. Because people will either be scared or ask me like, yo, you could do that. Like, yo, you can't do it. I've had a guy walk up to me and tell me, you can't do that. He wasn't police. He wasn't an instructor. He wasn't that. He was just a guy. And y'all know y'all guys, y'all always got the opinion. Y'all always got to say something. So he said something to me. He was like, yo, you police? I was like, who with you? He was like, you can't do that. You can't have that. You can't. I was like, I'm sorry, mister, I don't know the laws. Mind your business. You know what I'm saying? But then after a while, I taught him something. Same thing with my dad. Been a police officer all my life, military, then police. He didn't know security could do long guns. It's just a lot of things that people just don't know. And that's why I got into it, because I like to do that education piece. I like to say, hey, this is what you can do under the law. Now, do I recommend everybody doing it? No, because life is different for a 6-foot black man than it is for a 5'3" little black girl. Okay, so I don't recommend everybody doing everything I do, but I like to give that education about what you can and cannot do. I had a student maybe last week who said they didn't know that they could get a permit. So he was carrying illegally for 3 years because he lives in Baltimore City and wanted protection, but he didn't know that he could get a permit. There's a lot of miseducation in the black community. There's a lot of myths in the black community. There's a lot of miseducation in the black community. And that's why I like people like Black Guns Matter, because they focus on education. All for guns, definitely, but he focused on the education of his community. And that's why I like that, because that's why I do it. Not just for the gun part, for the education. I tell people all the time, like my family in Buffalo, even if you don't want a gun, get the permit. Get the education, get the permit, and then you have the choice. Then you have the choice. It's not an obligation. You don't have to buy a gun, but you have the choice and you have the opportunity to do whatever you need to do when the time comes. So yeah, so what I say, stay in your lane. It's not worth it to do crime. You got $17,000 worth of bribes, but you're about to be doing 20 years, and that's not even $1,000 a year. So doing the crime is not worth it. Students asking you to do stuff, they're stupid. Don't be stupid with them. Stay in your lane when it comes to training. And when you pick your instructor, right, you can do your own due diligence. Even if somebody recommends them, you can go on their pages, websites, pages, look at reviews, talk to people in the comments, or DM them, email them, and ask them questions. If they can't answer simple questions or they don't know something, like people ask me about DC all the time. And I say, I don't know DC law in and out. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. And so you probably wouldn't come to me for your DC permit because I don't have the right answers. Now, do I hold those classes? For my students that have already gone through my classes, I have another instructor that I work with who does DC training, and I get them with them and I do the DC training because I know how to stay in my lane. I'm a connector and sometimes not the instructor. That's what I do best. I connect people. I point you in the right way. I'm a vessel to what you need. I'm a vehicle to the highway you need to get to, but I stay in my lane. And because I stay in my lane, I dominate it. There's no competition. I'm competing against myself yesterday, not nobody else. There's 2-3 other instructors on these lives right now who I ain't never been in competition with. Not one time. One of them owns a security company. I am not in competition with him. I watch him. I congratulate him. I love his trucks. I don't have no trucks. But am I sitting around going, man, I wish I had trucks like Trusty? No. Because Trusty has trucks like Trusty because that's what Trusty needs. And Trusty knows what to do with that and how to use that. And that's a Trusty thing. That's not a Jasmine thing. You got to stay in your lane and respect the people that are in their lanes. Congratulate them because your time is coming, and or you're not even supposed to be doing that. Now you're doing it and messing up the whole industry for everybody else. Now you done went and got trucks because Trusty got trucks and your truck's breaking down, making everybody look bad. Your guys pulling people over. Y'all remember back in the day when they had the special police here in Baltimore and people was doing the jump out boys and they was acting like police and pulling people over in the neighborhood? Everything ain't for everybody. Everything ain't for everybody. And I know that for sure, okay? I am completely happy where I am. And the goals I have, even if they're like the people that I see, even if they are in the same lane, I still make a way to make it different and for me and fit my company and fit me. So as these instructors, while y'all out here competing against each other, dogging each other, just pick a lane, stay in it. It's unnecessary. There's enough money out here for everybody. And then the ones that come to the range looking crazy as hell. Bro, just put on regular clothes. Just put on a shirt that say instructor. Like, cut it out. You look crazy. Wearing a freaking leg holster to the range to instruct for Maryland wear and carry is absurd. I don't care how cool you look. It's absurd. Like, really? It's just unnecessary. I couldn't even find another word besides absurd. It's just unnecessary, bro. It's absolutely absurd. Having instructor on the back of your vest, that's one thing. Having instructor on the back of your shirt or the front of your shirt, that's one thing. Because other people in the range might need instruction. See, I'm a business mind. So that right there is free advertisement. All day, every day. Yeah, that's cool. But you wilding out with the... Y'all be wilding out. Y'all be wilding out with the vests and the this and the that and the gear and the hat. Like, who you fighting in this range right now? It's crazy. Now Country got a thing where nobody can wear open carry in there. I opened carry from the day it was open until recently because they made a general rule and I had to follow the general rule. But that's because people be taking advantage of the laxation in certain places, and then now there's rules and it affects everybody, and it's freaking ridiculous. Because the dude who made us go into the regular ranges because he brought all those people, I told them they should have just kicked him out of VIP. Like, just, bruh, like, just get rid of this dude. Like, I'm not with the, like, why I gotta suffer because dude did something dumb. I hate it. I hate it bad. I will never walk onto the range anywhere without my logo on my chest. Listen, I don't go to the golf course. I don't go to the golf course without my logo on my hat or my chest. And because it's about to be summer, I'm actually going to get short sets, polos, and there's matching shorts made with my logo on the shorts and on the shirt. It's definitely a conversation starter, a money getter, a deal maker. It's definitely a thing to do. If you are an instructor, that is a good way to do it. And also, something I don't do as an instructor just because I'm bougie, you should go to other ranges. Other ranges. Go to other ranges with your logo on your shirt, teaching or shooting or doing whatever. It'll help you get clients. It'll help you get people noticing you. You can start relationships with other ranges. Like, that's actually a really good thing to do. I don't do it, but that's actually a good thing to do. Dame Dash be having those jewels, man. Dame Dash be having those jewels. Anyway, so here's this for the student part of instructor industry. I've already said that you need to vet your instructor, validate whatever the word is that you want to use. If your instructor is teaching you, you literally have to have some concept of what is safe and right. There's a video I showed during my classes of an instructor teaching this young lady, and then he like grabs the gun. Something's wrong with it. He grabs the gun. He's kind of fumbling with it. He's got his hands everywhere. And then he ends up shooting her in the stomach and grazing him in like the elbow or something. I understand that people go to the range and they don't really know etiquette or they don't really know about guns, but y'all gotta have your safety in your own hands. You have to always protect yourself. Y'all know my motto. Always protect yourself. You have to protect yourself. You should know that he shouldn't be pointing that gun towards you, no matter if he's the instructor or not. Ladies, your boyfriend is not a firearm instructor. I'm going to say it again a little close to the mic so it could be a sound bite. Your boyfriend is not a firearm instructor. Your husband is not a firearm instructor. Your date for that first date is not a firearm instructor unless he's literally a firearm instructor. Y'all letting them tell you how to do stupid stuff, and then you go and you do stupid stuff, and now we got to reteach you and relearn and all this other stuff. Just take freaking classes. It's cute as a date. It is cute. It's a cute date night. Go to the range with your boo thing and do these, whatever. But if you really want to get into it, please take an actual training with an instructor that you vetted, that you spoke with, that you like, whatever. But like John said, these boyfriends gonna get these girlfriends killed, bruh. I see so much crazy stuff on that range on these little date night, and you can always tell because it's always, let me touch your elbow, let me show you how to do this, let me get up behind you, like they used to do at the pool tables and, you know, like the little golf thing, but now they doing it at the gun range. But the only thing about the pool table golf thing and the gun range is that could get somebody killed. Date nights are cute, but that is not an instructor. Please get a real instructor. Please, please, please. 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 Let me see. What else is my other spill on these instructors, man? That competition stuff be crazy to me. Really crazy. Like, I've literally had to say to somebody, like, I'm not into all that instructor stuff. Like, I run a whole business. This is just part of it. I don't need to be doing all this other kind of stuff. If you take it seriously to the point where you want to get into competitions, or you take it to at the point you want to get sponsors and this, that's good. But everybody's not going to be on that level. Everybody's not going to be on that type time. So you can't judge people because they don't want to be on that type time with you. That doesn't mean they're a bad instructor. I'm not a bad instructor. I'm just not on that type time. I don't want USCCA to sponsor me because I don't want to have to do whatever USCCA want me to. What Mantis sponsored me for is talking about the product, using the product in my class. Those things I want to do. But I'm not going to competitions and doing all that. So everybody's on a different roadmap with this instructor thing. And people need to start respecting that about people. And I think y'all hold each other up to these weird standards. And y'all be in competition with each other. And it's just not healthy. Especially in the black community. Like, bro, we should be uplifting each other. Like, this is a new day and time that is so many black instructors. Women, men, black instructors at an all-time rise, and we should be happy and proud about that and helping each other and moving each other forward and doing whatever we can to support each other. Absolutely. That is what I think about the industry of the firearm instructors, because it used to not be this way. We used to not be in the NRA. We used to not be able to do this. I mean, still to this day, people are like, oh, I don't want to be in the NRA, you know, racism, this, that, and the third. True. All that is true. I'm pretty sure, I ain't gonna front, I'm pretty sure the people who are at the highest point of the NRA do not like us. But one thing they do like is green. So they not letting us in. So get in, learn what they've been teaching their kids for centuries. Learn what they've been passing down to their children for centuries. Take it and take it back to your community and teach your community how to protect themselves the same way they've been teaching their community how to protect themselves for centuries. We behind. Our kids ain't learning like their kids. We talking about Ruby Bridges getting, banned from the schools, and they don't care because they out here teaching their kids in school how to do rifle shooting. Now, that might be part of the problem, but I ain't going to go there tonight. But I'm just saying, like, the education on self-defense and self-protection and this, that, and the third, we don't give it to our youth and kids as much as other cultures give it to their youth and kids. And I really think that should change. So shout out to those instructors who do youth classes, because it's really needed in our community. But the ego in this game is crazy, John, for real. Let me see. We talked about ego. We talked about the way they be dressing at the range, looking crazy. Competition, it don't even be real. Hating is ridiculous. Too much money out here. What else? Students, check on your potential instructors. Make sure they're actually instructors. If I go on an instructor page and the whole page is memes about other stuff, but they telling me to come to them for instruction, it's a no for me, bro. If I go on somebody's page and they only doing house instruction and I don't never see them at the range, it's a no for me, bro. Like, it's just certain things that should be red flags. And that's not hating. You could do instruction at a house. I've done instruction at bookstores. I've done instruction at corporate buildings. I've done instruction at... If you want me to come teach HQL or teach the non-range portion of class at a business I'm doing it. But listen, you can check up on the website, on their social media, whatever. There's not too many instructors that don't have social media, because social media is the free advertising. So there's not too many people who don't have social media. So you can definitely check up on your instructor before they become your instructor. Before you come to me telling me that your instructor didn't teach you how to put bullets into a magazine. That was probably like the day I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. She's putting ammo in the magazine backwards. So I said, what you trying to do? Shoot yourself? Because I'm an a-hole. So I said that. And she was like, oh, we didn't go over this in class. What? And when he saw me do it, he just was like, oh, it's okay. This is how you do it. And he did it for me. No, bro. You do it a disservice to the person that's supposed to be protecting their life with the instruction that you gave them. If you don't go through the full class, if you don't go through the full slides, if you don't go through the full curriculum, you're essentially setting someone up to die. Because when this person pulls out this gun for self-defense, they need to actually know how to manipulate this firearm. Now, saying that also, taking one class, the one mandated class that you have for firearms, is not going to teach you how to protect yourself. It's going to get you where you need to be to get the permit, and then you need to come back for more training. Getting the permit is only the first step, not the only step. It's the first step, not the only step. Getting the permit is the first step, not the only step. That means that class you took to get the permit is not the only training class you need. With these people running around here without training because they got constitutional carry or permitless carry or however they're saying it in the news, there's going to be a lot of killings by people who didn't even really mean to kill people. It's going to be a lot of killings by people who really didn't mean to actually take that step, but they're like, this is my self-defense tool, so I'm going to do it. Same thing I say about police. If police can't fight, of course they're going to shoot. If you put a little skinny little police officer out in the hood and expect them to do something about something, they're going to do what they got to do with what they have and what they know how to use. If I don't know how to fight, but I have a firearm, I'm going to pull my firearm and not fight. Or if I'm scared, I'm not going to try to get in the... You can't set people up for failure. And that's what you're doing if you're not actually taking them through the class. I might speed some people through class because I see that they got that concept. I'm not saying that I just sit there 16 hours straight, drilling this, that, and the turns into your head. I'm not saying that. I'm not even fronting. I'm not fronting on that. Not saying I never let somebody out early. But I ain't never took a bribe. And I never will. And people have asked me. This dude recently, he hit me up every month for 3 months. Every month, he telling me, oh, how much is the class? Then he got mad because I said it's $300. And just because you're asking me in a different manner does not mean the price is going to change. He hated me for that. He literally sent me like a 2-page text back saying how that was rude. But he had asked me like 6 times, and I'm not changing my price because the price doesn't matter. It's what comes, like, my price is my price. You want to go somewhere else? Go somewhere else. You want to go somewhere cheaper? Go somewhere cheaper. You want to go somewhere expensive? Go somewhere expensive. But my price is my price, and I'm not changing it. Just like I'm not charging you a lot just to not teach you the class. I'm not doing none of those things. So don't come in with me with that, because I'm going to be super rude. Don't come at me with no, let me just slide kind of stuff, because I'm not that person. I ain't the one, bruh. I ain't the one, bruh. So, that's my spill on the industry. It is oversaturated with a bunch of dummies, a bunch of half-asses, bunch of criminals. It's oversaturated with instructors who aren't doing their actual job, who are in it for the money. It's oversaturated with people who don't really take pride in doing the actual course, because some people get used to doing the course, so they cut corners because they're a little bored with it or tired of it. Let me be transparent. John said I was transparent earlier, so let me be a little bit more transparent. Doing the same class over and over again with the same curriculum over and over again with the same type of people over and over again can definitely get mundane. It could definitely get boring. It could definitely all those things. So when it did do that for me, which was HQL, it started to be like an HQL farm. You get them in 4 hours, you get them out. They only had to do 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. Get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. They're leaving and they're not actually comprehending. They're not actually really understanding the information. They're not retaining it. If you've got a class of 20 people, there's no way to individually make sure that each person understands what's going on. And I didn't like that. I got tired of that. So I actually stopped doing HQL classes. Most people wouldn't have did that because the money's good. But I literally stopped doing HQL classes, revamped the classes. Now, what I do is I don't even let people take HQL classes. You either going to take this HQL wear and carry blend with it all together. It's 2 days, it's 16 hours, and you get, emails after that teaching you stuff for the rest of the time that I'm alive. My students will tell you, I send out emails as much as I can with more and more training. It's not one and done with me. It's a relationship. We together now. What that girl said, I think she said we go together. Once you take my class, we go together. Unless you say, I want to opt out of these emails. I've had 1 or 2 people say, I want to opt out of these emails. And those 2 people get marked on the thing. If they come to me for renewal, just know it's not a renewal. You're taking this class over because you don't want to do training. You don't want to come into the range to do training. You don't want to read training. You don't want to watch training on YouTube. You don't want to do nothing. So, real bad. There you go, Smith. Yeah. So you come to one of my classes, we go together. Real bad. For real. So that's how I work. So if I'm not the one for you, don't come to me. I don't baby people through it. I don't know. It's some people that I know that are catching it, comprehending. Like one kid I knew, he wasn't really comprehending the written stuff and the reading stuff. But when he got in that range, he was a natural. Center mass every time. First time in the range. So now I know, all right, the curriculum, the reading, this, that, and third is not really his thing. So I need to switch around the way I relate to him. But I can't do that in a class of 20. So I don't do big classes anymore. I still do the same amount of students. Might take me a little bit more time, but that's why I do half the stuff online so that everybody can do that, and then I do the range day. So I had to figure out a way to get still the same amount of revenue because this is what I do for a living. So this is another thing. There's instructors who are only part-time instructors. And so if you're a part-time instructor, it's either your passion or you're doing it for the money. And you get a little bit of both. And when you do that, when you get a little bit of both of that, you get the people who are doing it half-assed because they're doing it half the time and they're doing it for extra income. The one thing about doing something for extra income is sometimes you get people who half-ass it. And that's okay if you're doing, I don't know, what's the extra? If you're doing Instacart or Lyft or Uber and you do it half-assed, you don't really take as many rides as you could, you don't take certain rides, that's cool because it's not life or death. But you cannot be a half-assed firearm instructor. Even if you do it part-time, which is fine. If you do it part-time, you still have to give it your all when you're on the range and when you're teaching these people because you're literally putting a firearm in their hand that could literally take somebody else's life. And that's what I started to feel when I was getting them 20 people per class, getting them in, getting them out, getting them in, getting them out. I'm having 2 classes a week. Boom, 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 boom. Making hella money. I've been without a job for 3 years. Process serving and firearms, yes. That stuff got me, what? Yes. And if you follow me on any other social media, you know that I takes myself out on dates, and them dates be extravagant. Summertime, I'm at the Four Seasons. I'm at the pool. I'm eating and drinking at the restaurants that I want to eat at. Like, it's definitely lucrative out here. It's definitely lucrative. Pay your taxes, people. It's lucrative to pay your taxes. It's definitely lucrative out here. But you still have to have some sense of like responsibility to these people that are coming in this class. And now, yeah, there's no liability. They commit a crime. It's not really on you. They do this. It's not really on you. But in my heart, in my brain, I do have a sense of responsibility to my students. That's just who I am. But every instructor not like that. So if you just want to come into class and get out, you got to go somewhere else. Because even though I do part of my stuff online, when I'm in person, I'm saying the same thing over. I'm repeating until you repeat it back to me the correct way. Until I think you understand it. I'm making you shoot. I'm making you do the same thing. This one girl, I spent a half an hour making her unload and load the firearm and drop the magazine and do all that because she wasn't comprehending it. So you can't leave. And if I got time, I got time. I had somebody doing that, and I was sitting there smoking a cigar in the cigar lounge at Gundry. You work, I'll sit here and smoke my cigar. I'm going to drink my whiskey. I'm going to drink my bourbon while you do that. Because I might not take up my personal time, but your personal time is definitely going to get used because you need to comprehend this stuff. So every instructor is just not made the same. Every instructor is not made the same. Every wear and carry class is not made the same. Every HUL class is not made the same. And like I said before, I am not the best shooter in the world. I'm not the best instructor in the world, but I got a conscience and I know what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing. So ain't no bribing over here. That dude who's going to jail for 20 years for $17,000 worth of bribes, he's an idiot. And the people who are doing it, because there's other people that are doing it, trust me. Y'all stupid too. Y'all idiots too. For real. And I'm just going to drink to you, maybe stopping before you get caught. Man, what time is it, man? It's 8:50. Shout out to everybody that's still on my live. I got on here like 7:05. 8:50. Shout out to y'all for listening to me rant about this industry. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Industry Talk Podcast every Monday at 7 p.m. Yeah, but this industry could be a beautiful thing, but people are really tarnishing it because it's so easy to get into and it's really good money. But they messing it up by doing things like that. Doing things like taking bribes. Doing things like not having class. Doing things like ending class at 10:30. So in that situation, if you just got on here, you didn't hear my story. But in that situation where the guy who worked for me ended the class at 10:30, I ended up having to bring the students in for a free session. I went through the stuff that they missed. I took them in the range. I supplied everything. I gave them lunch. We, had a celebration whiskey. We did, I did the thing the way I do it. The way I do my thing. The way I smooze people. Cigars and whiskey and golf. So I did, try to make up for that situation. So these instructors that hire other instructors to instruct, make sure you're vetting these people that you're hiring to instruct. One thing that Gundry is doing now is they're making people who let other people instruct their students for them. They're making those people, those companies or whatever it is, they're making them put them on their insurance. And that wasn't something that they were doing before. And so I think that's something that's really, really important that they're doing, making people be held accountable for these people that they're bringing in the range and saying that they're instructors. They want to see their instructor cert and they want you to put them on their insurance. So I think these new things that Gundry is doing is really good because it helps them on the liability side and it pushes these instructors to actually treat themselves like a business owner instead of just treating themselves like a run-of-the-mill instructor. I do appreciate that from Gundry. So that's just, that's my spill on the instructor industry. I don't have too much left on that. Don't be an idiot. Stop competing with each other. Stop coming to the range looking like RoboCop. Now I don't know what you should or shouldn't you wear to the range, but I know having 3 full guns on you, it look crazy at the range, and it's just crazy. We know you're an instructor. We get it. I mean, I don't count. I wear full-blown suits, sometimes double-breasted suits to the range, so I don't really count. I had patent leather shoes on at the range last time, so I'm a little bit of a league of my own, okay? So I don't really can tell you what to wear and what not to wear, but I just know that sometimes y'all just be overdoing it. I really love these cigars from Privada. This one is a very deep, soothing blackberry, grass, spice on the back end cigar. I like the ring gauge as well. I like this size, pretty good. Y'all better try Privada. They're delicious. But anyway, that's it. That is my spill on the Industry, that's my thoughts on the guy who's going to jail for 20 years. Y'all be careful, because if you are half-assing it, there are people that's going to turn you in to Maryland State Police. Somebody turned him in. He didn't get caught. Somebody turned him in. I have heard that Maryland State Police are now putting decoys into people's classes. I heard that from an actual police officer. They're putting decoys into people's classes to see if they're actually teaching the class or what they're doing. So be careful out here. They not playing with y'all no more. They're not playing with y'all no more. They're putting decoys into instruction classes. That's how you know a lot of people are doing this. The money is not worth going to jail. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Especially if you have times in this industry where you can make $40,000 in a month. It's just not, like, come on, bro. Just wait your turn. Wait for that good uptick. Set your price where you want to price it and make the money. There's no reason to be going to jail over firearm instructor. Like, just teach the class, bro. Just teach the class. But they're starting to put decoys in classes. And so I know they're doing that in Maryland. So be careful with that. Turn over a new leaf if you are someone who is doing what I'm talking about. This is your chance to redeem yourself. Okay? Yeah, that was my pastor voice. What else? I don't want to leave until I have, all my thoughts about these people out. But I think that's it. I'm not one of those people, so don't come to me asking me to sign your paperwork, because it's not happening. Because usually the people who are doing that are people who can't shoot, so that defeats the point. It's not usually people who know how to shoot and do well. It's usually people who really suck and don't even want to train. So I'm definitely not doing it. And I've definitely been asked and offered before, and nah, bro. It's not. I like nice things, and I can't have nice things in jail. So, I mean, look at my headphones. It's brown leather to match my freaking desk map in my iPad case, like in my book bag. Like, come on. I'm not going to jail. I won't be able to do none of this stuff that's unnecessary. Okay. So you'll DM me. What are you DMing me about? I think it's weird that you said you'd DM me when you could have just DM'd me. So thank y'all for everybody that commented and everybody that participated in the conversation. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all get y'all some Old Forester. That's what I was drinking today. And a Privada cigar. That's what I was smoking today. Shout out to the sponsors, USCCA and Mantis. Make sure you get a Mantis. Check it out. I do have a training app that you can train from home with me. Right now we're focused on process servant and private detective, and we have firearm training, self-defense training, fitness training, meal prep training, all in that app. $9.99 a month. It's called the Protectors Club. To bring out the protector in you is the goal. And so if you want to train with me and you're in a different state or you don't have a lot of time, you can also supplement your training by doing that online training with me. I'm in there every day talking to students, answering questions, getting on lives and all that. So you have 24-hour access to me as well. So if you're interested in that, definitely DM me, hit me up. I will drop you the links ASAP, because we're doing big things. Uncle, I'm gonna DM you and talk to you about becoming a private detective. And that's it. That's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tune in next time on Industry Talk Podcast every Monday at 7 p.m. live on YouTube. And you can hear it again on Spotify at 8 p.m.